It's only a closet. That's a lie. There's so much beyond closets that Wendy Scott here is helping us with. And I love that she's bringing on all of her friends in the business. So, Wendy Scott, first and foremost, welcome to the show. Timeless Closets and Cabinetry is the name of the company. Please introduce yourself and then we'll bring on Haley.
So, Wendy Scott, owner of Timeless Closets and Cabinetry, and I'm doing custom closets and specialty pieces. And then this is my dear friend, Haley Epstein. So, Haley, tell us who you are, where you are, and how to find you.
Um, well, my name is Haley Epstein. I'm the owner of HA Interiors. I currently live in Jersey City, and I've been doing projects around Jersey City, Hoboken area. But I'm now mainly focused on by the shore, Asbury Park, Oakhurst. I have my family business that my family's into are developers and builders down there, so I'm kind of mainly focused down there for now.
And we can find you on Instagram at.
Oh, oh, you can find me at you can find me in the virtually you could find me on Instagram at HJE Interior. I think it's HJE
Underscore
underscore
interiors.
interiors. Yes.
And we'll have that on the website.
Yes.
All right. So, what did you have in mind for today, Wendy? Let's talk about the connection, how the two of you met, and the type of work that you do
So I've been
specifically.
doing projects with Haley for about 6 years now. She's one of my favorite interior designers who comes up with crazy things, and I got to figure it out. She is the one of the main people that I've been working with down at that I call it Oakhurst, but it's Country Day Estates in Oakhurst, so it's a big development. And one of the questions that always comes up in my head is I have a builder who I accidentally referred to his house as contemporary, and he corrected me. He's like, no, it's modern. And then I'm working with Haley on this project, and she goes, this is a contemporary house. And I'm like, okay, what
Yeah,
on
it's confusing.
earth is the difference between modern and contemporary? And then we just snowballed into, let's just have Haley come and talk to us and teach us what we need to know.
Yeah, I was telling Wendy like I remember this question coming up in design school, and I remember the teacher kind of like fumbling over it a little bit, but she kind of basically essentially says it's lines. Well, there's not just two. There's some key differences, including their historical context, the aesthetic principles, and their materials. Like modern design is rooted in the historic period, the 20th century period, and while contemporary design is kind of like ever changing and working with like present, like the current times, which is interesting. The aesthetic principles that can be attributed to like modern design puts an emphasis on minimalism, functionality, and balance. While contemporary design focuses on trendiness, bold contrast, and comfort. So I don't know if that can like if that helps in terms of understanding if your client was accurate in labeling that as a modern design. But if you oftentimes when you go into a modern home, you see a lot of materials like plywood, leather, and chrome. An example of this would be like an Eames chair, and
What's
that's from an
what's
Eames
that?
chair.
I don't know what the Eames chair is. I'm sorry.
Me
Charles and
either.
Eames. Oh, sorry. It's another mid-century. When you see the chair, it's Eames,
Okay.
Eames, Charles and Ray Eames. They were a married
Okay.
couple in the mid-century that designed a lot of mid-century furniture that you will see around and like uh, companies like a lot of mid-century design, a lot of the buildings in Manhattan and Chicago are for mid-century architects. And so you might see like a
Okay.
Barcelona chair, and that has leather and chrome. The Eames chair has the plywood. I'm telling you, if you guys look up Eames chair, it's like Fraser Crane. If you ever watched Frasier, he had that Eames chair that he loved, and he wanted to replace.
Oh.
And the dad had that ugly a lazy boy chair. And like,
Yes.
Frasier's Frasier's actually
I see
house.
it. I had to
It's
Google it. Yeah, I'm
yes,
looking at it. Oh, I've seen these
yeah,
before. I never knew it had a name like that. Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
The lounge chair. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And uh Frasier's house, if you want to talk about contemporary versus modern, is a modern design. With there's some it's contemporary elements. Honestly, I think it's more contemporary. Because of the art and the during that time, um, you know, it just worked within that time period, but it's and what was fresh and new during that time. I don't know if that was helpful.
No,
How
definitely,
does
but go ahead.
modern translate into colors? Like what are you using for the colors in a modern home versus the
Modern
colors in
home,
a contemporary home?
I think in terms of like contemporary homes have like bold contrast, cool colors. Um, Modern style has more earthy, neutral tones. Like my kitchen is a contemporary kitchen. It has like the marble, kind of like the cool marble backsplash and countertop with like the black accent, matte black accents and like the cool wood tone.
Jill, you were about to say something and I
Well,
interrupted you.
is anyone else frozen or was it just me?
Oh,
Oh, I
did
think it
you?
was
I
just
was.
you.
It
Okay,
was just
before
you.
because you
Yeah.
were talking and we're all frozen except you, Haley. So I was just concerned
Oh,
we had an issue on our end, but everything looks okay. Good. So it was
yeah.
just me. And you mentioned contemporary, right? What other things, because I'm seeing all new home builds, right? And when I look at the interiors, I just go crazy. Like, for example, I love the blue cabinetry that they're putting in like bathrooms in the brass. Is that considered contemporary? What era are we in now?
What I think right where we are now, what I'm seeing that's trending is the transitional, where they're taking modern elements and mixing it with some traditional elements. And I so it's more
Got it.
particularly if you're talking about the blue with the brass, they might do
Yeah.
people might be using a blue instead of like the thick shaker cabinets. They're doing like a thin or a slim shaker cabinet with like a nice brass, but the brass detail might not have like a bulky traditional look. Um, it might have like a slim, clean look. So it's these elements are traditionally like the color blue and the brass is used in traditional homes, but how it is actually formed is more modern or contemporary, like modern. So like so the details are more modern while the colors and materials might be traditional.
Got it. And, the two of you working together, right? Have you been on projects together at the same time, I'm assuming?
Yes, multiple projects.
Could you share
Yes.
some details of them?
So
Let's see.
Oakhurst would be the best one
Yeah,
because we kind of did a whole mix. We did traditional, transitional, and contemporary.
yes.
Jill was away when I did the video, but there is a video of me walking through the transitional house on the website. But there were very specific colors that Haley picked throughout the house. So go for it, Haley.
Yeah, and the
What
kitchen
led
of the
you?
trend, yeah, that was so much fun. And the kitchen for the transitional was black, matte black, and some gold. So, like I said, like we're mixing in these like and the wood flooring is like what had like a um warm kind of gray undertone in and used wood flooring throughout. So the traditional element of wood flooring throughout I brought that in with more of like a modern, like slim shaker cabinetry, and I use modern gold hardware detail. I mean, there's so in the closets. I mean, we couldn't get enough compliments on those closets, Wendy. Like it's like nonstop. Everyone wants to buy the house because of the closet. The closets, where everyone was thoroughly impressed. Traditionally for the men's closet, I think we used the like a gold, a green. That
So
was
we
the
have
green color.
green in the
Mhm.
transitional,
the
and we
traditional and
had
the men's.
blue.
Yeah, and the
We had
men's. Yeah.
navy blue or halo navy in.
And the traditional. And then for the women's transitional, we went with the white, but we used, some nice, clean, contemporary hardware pieces,
And
and
Slim Shaker.
a slim shaker, as well as like the lighting was more of a modern design versus a traditional pendant or a traditional chandelier or a contemporary chandelier.
In the transitional one, or I'm sorry, in the contemporary house, we also use the tweed colors. So,
Yes.
What are tweed colors?
Tweed is like what I love about working with Wendy is that she has so many different samples of colors and textures of the cabinetry. And I love in closets putting in a cabinet with like kind of um, it looks almost like a material, like a clothing material. Like tweed is like what you would see on a
Is it like
jacket
woven,
or
like
a blazer.
woven
Yeah,
looky?
like a
I'm
woven
thinking
look.
tweed is like an orange, a yellow, a brown. What color is it?
It was like a tan,
like a
like a
linen.
all linen, yeah. And I just think it brings warmth to the closet, and it also plays on the fact that it is a space that you hold clothes of like similar texture. So I think I like to play with the materials like in that way.
I do have a background on, but I'm going to see if you can see my door because this is a Slim Shaker. Can you see?
Absolutely. Is now the color wise, is that like a light
Color-wise, this is a
blue
sage
gray?
green.
Sage. See, I can't tell. It looks blue or grayer here on the
It's like
camera,
a
but
green.
okay.
It's what's in my actual closet, but this is the Slim Shaker that she keeps referring to.
Yeah.
So it has that real thin little piece on that. Now, we actually have, I'm going to get in trouble for a second, a new piece. I don't know that Haley's seen it, but you can explain how this would how this would translate into a Haley world. It's this new Slim Shaker that has a
Oh, the
reed.
Oh,
tweeted.
wow.
Yeah, I love that. Love.
I
So would you
love
put
that.
this in a contemporary, a modern, a transitional? Like
I
what
would
would
put that
you
in
do
a
with that?
I would put it in a modern and a transitional home that can go with either. I think contemporary, you stick with minimalism, clean lines, and I mean, you could, but honestly, like I would stick with more of like what you see behind my kitchen, like just very clean line, um, and the color tones would be more cool, will have cooler color scheme. But that is gorgeous. I would put that in my home. My new home I'm renovating is gonna be like Spanish revival, so it's gonna have a transitional look. And that would be perfect because I love adding textures to transitional and modern designs.
What do you see is happening more? Like, what's the trend? Is it leaning towards contemporary, leaning towards modern, or does it just depend on where you're located?
I think it does definitely depend on where you're located. And I think we were speaking earlier, and you said like in Manhattan, and even dealing with a lot of the suppliers, they tend to say that in Manhattan they go with more of the contemporary look because and the reason why they do that is because their spaces they have to work within a smaller space. So contemporary clean lines give the illusion of the space being bigger. And when you're out in the suburbs, you would want to kind of fill in this space and create more warmth. So you would go with more a modern or a transitional look. And it also depends on West Coast versus East Coast. Like I just so happen, doing my home, since it's a Spanish revival, I got a lot of inspiration from a lot of homes from California because they have, my home has a terracotta roof, and there's a lot of homes out there, like in Florida and in California, and warm areas that have these specific design elements that you would find out there. So it's different depending on, I think, um, where you are environmentally, and also versus city versus suburbs.
Do you see a more European look coming over?
No. Yes. that I feel like that trend again, I think the European trend is sticking within the cities, where you get that like that lacquered cabinetry and the I just that clean minimal look is just some people kind of mix that element those elements. I'm thinking strictly about like kitchen, like you won't often find like a European I think in a contemporary look. I think maybe European in terms of Parisian, I've been seeing that trending where, but it's also in a transitional style. It's not in like a contemporary side. It's more of a transitional where they're taking like the wainscoting that you would see or the herringbone wood flooring that you would see in a Parisian um, uh, apartment, and then they're mixing that with a really clean uh, not some shaker, but like yeah, some shaker um, cabinetry. So there's like different, I guess, if you think of European, um, what do you think about when you say European in terms of cabinetry?
I'm thinking like the bigger, oversized boxes, very boxy and metals and large, oversized doors. But again, I don't have the training. I'm actually going to an open house for on Thursday next week for a new closet company in
Oh,
Paramus,
wow.
and they've brought in a Brazilian line, and it's larger doors, larger pieces, um,
What kind of doors are they? Are they slim
slat,
or are they flat?
flat.
What's flat or what's the line? The
It's
Brazil
called
for Brazil?
Ornare,
Mhm.
Ornare. You want to come?
Yeah, what day?
That's Thursday next week from 6 to 9. I won't go the whole
Oh,
time, but I'm going with my niece.
okay.
I'll send it to you.
Yes, and this time I'll double check my calendar, make sure it's correct. Okay, so yeah, we'd love to. I love looking at new trends. And the oversized look. I think yes, European design and they have a large impact on our interior spaces.
Hmm.
And again, it kind of like you have to figure out it gets a little bit complicated because we're talking about like contemporary versus modern. And then people right now, I think in general, like ignoring all the details, but they're mixing these elements and creating more of a transitional design. So what I see, what's trending and like kitchens are organic modern design kitchens.
How
So
does
they're
that
mixing
translate color wise?
color wise, it's light floors. So like if you have a cabinetry color, your floors are going to be lighter. If you're gonna so like it would be like a white, let's for example, white oak. Like
Yeah.
let's say you have like this kind of white oak. Your floors are going to be a lighter tone. I think I'm seeing more of like a medium white oak tone and like a lighter white oak on the floor. So you bring in like wood, like a warm floor with that is happens to be lighter than your cabinetry. You bring in organic elements such as in your lighting. You guys understand what organic design is? It's any type of like furniture, fixture, material that looks like you could be found in nature. That's organic
Okay.
design. So like if you think about the pendants that are like um you see some of like the plaster white pendants that are kind of look like a mushroom that I don't know if you know
Like a
if you
flower or
yeah, that's an organic design. So bringing in
okay.
these elements and mixing all these elements together, I feel like is trending.
And I peeked around, I perused a little. I saw that you did like a luxury dorm in
Oh,
Rutgers. Is
yes, I that's my alma mater. I haven't
ah,
updated my website in years
yeah, yeah,
because
but I saw that earlier. I was like, ah.
Yeah, it says about it. Yeah, it's my alma mater, my husband's alma mater. Me and my husband, both of our family, our siblings went to Rutgers, except for one, which is his brother who went to Princeton. So like we're a Rutgers family, and there was a dorm. Chabad had commissioned me to do the girls' dorm, and I brought in some modern elements, which was a lot of fun.
For modern, I mean, is modern now like I saw on Instagram the you have a picture of the house with like a lot of arches. Is that considered like what like my house has like squares, right? But I see a lot of arches now. What area are we in for that? Like what is that even called? Is that more
Again,
common?
yeah, it's more
Is
common
that
because I feel like again it's transitional.
transitional?
It's a transitional architectural element that people are bringing. It's a classical traditional element that people are
Hmm.
bringing into a modern space. So so you would define that space as transitional because it's mixing these elements. And arches are, I think, they're timeless. I love creating a space. I think creating a timeless space is as a designer is I appreciate more because you're less likely to change it. And I feel like creating a successful timeless space, you include organic elements, you include classical elements. And I think I think this transitional style, you will see that these homes will kind of look classic over time.
Got
It
it.
won't look like, oh, that's like, dated. That's like, that's so 2020, like you'll see that they will have a timeless look, which is, I think
Why
as a
she uses
designer,
timeless closets.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
exactly.
exactly. Which is why I think I think as a designer, I, I, I tend to focus on that.
Got it. All right. Well, we still have 5 minutes left in the show. What other aspects of your work and aesthetics, and do you guys want to share?
When do you see Haley coming down the pike as far as the color trends um, that's coming tomorrow? Like, what do you foresee metal wise and color wise in materials?
I think that's a really good question. I think a lot of neutral tones, definitely neutral earthy tones are on the trend. And in terms of like hardware, I still think that they're doing like the soft golds. And I think it's beautiful. So mixing the soft golds with the earthy tones and the neutral colors. Um, and I think that um yeah, I think design is so fascinating to me. I love it so much. It's ever changing, but at the same time, you can create a space that will last a lifetime and not go out of style. And I love how you can just mold any space to kind of fit your mood or your personality or your charm. And as a designer, we have to like really channel that and channel your clients' needs and how they feel as in their character and kind of bring that all into their space. And, because when someone hires a designer, they hire them for, they want people to come into their home and say, oh, wow, this is, they have cool style. They have a nice vibe. They want, and so I don't know if I went on a little bit tangent, but in terms of, designing what's coming next in design, I feel like the more timeless, neutral, and blending of the um, styles is kind of what's up and what's on the trend, and I kind of love it. I'm like really feeling it because I think it creates more of a timeless space.
What do you feel is on the way out?
I think what's on the way out is, well, so what's so funny is that like I watch when I watch TV and I sometimes I binge watch TV. So like I'm binge watching these shows that had started in like 2012 or or 2006 or something like that, And then I see, and like as a designer, I'm like, oh, like I forgot back then people used to have those really dark, bold accent walls, or they would have like these funky, like, decor elements, So I feel like as much as like I love minimalism and I love clean lines. I feel like what is out is that total, not out because I feel like, but what I'm seeing people going more towards are the transitional look where they want to feel more of that comfort and the nature. And I think that actually is because of COVID. And I think COVID had really made people realize and be more aware of their environment. So they wanted to bring their outside in. So they, as much as they might love like minimalism or contemporary design, they want to kind of bring in some of that warmth from nature and that warmth from, so where you have that warm floor color tones and more greenery, even the color green. FYI is trending. The color green is trending. And I went to an event and they just came back from the Paris Design Expo and they were saying how, the color green is trending and how it was a result of COVID and like how people want to bring the outside in. So I think more of not Maximus, but just bringing more warmth into the home
Yeah.
space
Right.
is trending.
All right.
Good place to end because we are out of time. So I will tell you to contact me at Timeless Closets and Cabinetry is the name for all my social media platforms. And Hali, how do we contact you?
You can contact me on Instagram. That's all I basically have. I haven't updated my website, so please don't look at it.
That's okay. Well, I did
Yeah.
earlier before I got
Yeah.
to know you today. I didn't know about the Instagram page, so that's all I
Yeah, yeah.
saw. But now I'm on your
It's so old.
Instagram too. So thank
Yeah,
you
yeah,
so much for being here, for
yeah.
joining us. And Wendy, always a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your day. You gonna get any trick-or-treaters today?
No, I'm so happy where we live. We don't get them.
Oh my God.
Really?
You know what's crazy? My current house in Jersey City, I'm gonna miss it. This is our last year. We get so many trick-or-treaters and buying candy is a big deal in this house.
Wow.
Like we have to get so every year we have to buy more and more candy. But next year, hopefully God willing, the house will be done. And we're moving out to Essex County. And actually, like Wendy, our property, we won't get any trick-or-treaters. And
Oh,
I'm just realizing that now
Yeah, but
today. I'm like,
Hali,
oh
you're gonna
God.
have a two-story closet, so that's all that matters.
Oh
yes.
yes.
Oh,
That
yay.
could be another day for a podcast. We got to
All
figure that
right.
out.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, guys. Great having you, and we'll talk next week. Have a great week. Bye-bye. Thank
Likewise.
you.
Bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.